Hello, Jean-Martin Fortier and Farm. My name is John Joseph. I'm from Santa Clara, California. And this is my The Market Gardeners Masterclass Scholarship Contest video. So as for what I've been doing for the past few years, I'm a fourth-year psychology student at the University of California at Santa Barbara. And I just got into growing plants and mushrooms the past couple of years here. And I just want to tell a quick story actually about when I first started up and set up the whole context for my entire experience with gardening. So when I first started growing out, I was growing in pots out on my porch, and everything I planted got diseased with either viruses or some kind of fungi, like powdery mildew. And so after a couple months, there was literally a point where I just decided to give up, and I let all my plants just completely die because they weren't growing anymore with all the diseases they had. And but because I was into mushrooms at the same time, luckily, I read from Paul Stamets that mycorrhizal fungi have a bunch of benefits for plants, and so I decided to give it a try one more time. And this time I put mycorrhizal pads from Paul Stamets' company actually in the soil, and that time around I had no diseases, and that just shocked me because I was also taking mushroom supplements for my health. So to see such disease suppression in my plants meant that I too was getting such disease like prevention benefits, and I thought that was just absolutely amazing. So that got me absolutely super interested in farming. So from there I've taken several environmental science classes to help me approach marketing and gardening efficiently, and read a lot of books to help me understand fungi, like permaculture, and the history of agriculture, and I've even done a good amount of research on synthetic fertilizing just for to be well-rounded. It's important, at least in the history anyway, of farming and also modern times. But yeah, I actually just this quarter joined the gardening program here at UCSB, Greenhouse and Gardening Program. And I want to show you all some of that. So here are some of the lovely plants that grow on my farm, like this fig tree, and this voluntary chamomile, and nasturtium, and gopher birch. Here's some pumpkin I planted in an experimental Google filter pile. It's been doing better since I realized it needs more water than my other plants because of the soil it's growing in, so it's doing pretty good now. As you can see, my plants have no problem with lounging or lodging. They don't tend to lodge around. They really like to shape themselves up towards the sun, as you can see. As you might also notice, there are no bug holes anywhere on my plants, and that's because of the excessive amount of calcium uptake I make sure they get. They're not excessive, but a healthy amount. And then I also give them worm castings, which makes the plant produce an enzyme that makes bugs not want to eat it. So there's the squash, and here the corn. It's not going quite as well. As you may have seen, my peas are not exactly flourishing in my attempt at the Three Sisters technique. This is because I mounded them up in sandy soil, which could not hold enough water, and didn't allow them to transpire correctly, and created a limited factor in their growth. And as you can see here, my corn is flowering at 3 feet tall at its determined date. This is because of spacing issues, which created a limiting factor for their growth as well. Hopefully in the future, I can create an optimal environment to allow them to reach their full genetic potential. And here are my sunflowers. One of them has been getting attacked by a gopher, even though I have a little tiny gopher purge right there. This guy's been suffering a little bit. But as you can see, my plants very aggressively take in the light, which means that the only limiting growth factor really for them is carbon next. But again, you might notice there are no holes in the leaves, except for the plant in the middle, which is a little bit, has been hurting a little bit because of spacing. But yeah, so far my technique of
calcium uptake has been preventing any bugs from eating my plants.
So as you can see, I'm really trying to master pest and disease prevention, and also have the most flourishing plants I could possibly have, and those go hand in hand. But basically what I want to do in the future, my goal is to open a flourishing gourmet farm. Basically not just sustainable but flourishing. But so far I realized I really need to learn the management skills and how to do the mass production type stuff, which I think this class would really help me with. But yeah, so essentially that is my goal. I hope I hope I can get into this class. I think it'd really be helpful. But yeah, anyone that sees this, please like and share. Friends and family, please like and share. It would greatly help me out get the scholarship. Yeah. Thanks for your time, everybody.